Oh, I need to get Harry Potter stuff. I think this is as good as we're gonna get, you guys. Have my Ravenclaw tie and my wand. Also, Spew, is it S-P-E-W? Spew? Spew. Why did they cut that out of the movie? Hello everybody and welcome back to Teacups and Toadstools. I'm really excited to be talking about Harry Potter. I just want to start out this video and just put a disclaimer out there because recently a lot of stuff has come out about J.K. Rowling and some of her beliefs and some things coming to light about her views on certain issues, and I just want to go on the record and say I personally just do not agree or support J.K. Rowling's views on certain matters. I think if you're a Harry Potter fan, you know what I'm talking about, and it's very tragic to see her fall from the standard that I held her to when I was a little girl. But anyway, that being said, I read Harry Potter when I was younger and I loved it and it was very influential in my life, so I will always hold those stories close to my heart. I don't have a Harry Potter mug, you guys. I really tried, but the closest I could get is Mary Poppins. This says, "A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down," of course, and then on the inside it says, "In the most delightful way." And I only picked this one because I mean, she's British. That was as close as I could get. And we have raspberry tea in here today, which I haven't had since I was young and I used to hate it, so we're taking a lot of risks today. We're just gonna... Whoa. Nope. I recently tried to make a video where I was gonna read the whole Harry Potter series in a week, all 7 books in 7 days, and I failed. Drastically, I failed. I got through the first 4 books in the first 4 days, and then I kind of gave up because I fell so behind, because at that point, like, online classes started picking up and I didn't have time to read 600 pages every day. There was no time for me to do that. So I was like, all right, well, that video is scrapped. I can't do that because I totally failed. But I can still finish the books and then re-rank them having read them as an adult. So, just for some context, the last time I read Harry Potter was probably 4 years ago. It's been a long time, maybe even more than that, and I haven't read them 1 through 7 straight through since I first read them when I was in 7th grade. So that being said, I took this time during my voluntary shelter in place and I read the whole series in order. Also, really quick before I start this video, obviously, spoilers if you haven't read Harry Potter. Before I started reading the books, I came up with a list of what order I think that my favorites would be in based on what I remembered, because I'm a huge fan. I had been for a long time, and based on what I remembered, this is what I remembered my favorites being. So I'll go from worst to best. Number 7th I thought was gonna be the 7th book as my least favorite, and then the 1st book, and then the 6th book because I don't think I've reread the 6th book since I was 12. It's been a really, really long time since I've reread that one, and so I don't remember liking it. That's why I never reread it, and so that's why I put that a little bit lower. The 4th book, again, I don't remember really loving it as much as the others. But I still like all of them. The 3rd would be in 3rd place, 3rd and 3rd. The 5th in 2nd place, and then the 2nd book in 1st place. So I reread them, and I have some thoughts. My current ranking, the correct favorite Harry Potter books for me are as follows. Coming in at 7th place, my prediction was correct. It is the 7th book. There is just a lot of space in this book. There's a lot of periods of time that just feel very boring, not a lot is happening, and I've never really been a fan of structures of stories where it's the characters are going on a quest to find these things. I just have never really loved that. I feel like there were a lot of plot elements that were thrown in a little bit last minute, the legend of the 3 brothers, that had never come up before. And again, I don't know how much of this she thought of before or if it came up later, I don't know. But I just thought some plot elements that should have been sprinkled in a little bit earlier just kind of were all compounded into the 7th book. I mean, I do love the plot twist with Neville. I think that is such a great plot twist. That's just the thing I love about the series in general. But yeah, overall this is just probably my least favorite out of all of them. Alright, so in 6th place, I was again correct, it's the first one. This book is so cute and so good, and like obviously it's what got me into it, it's what got me started and obsessed with this series. However, rereading it, I quickly learned like,
oh yeah, I mean this is good, but it's definitely like got its issues, got its flaws for a first book in a series.
Like it has some pacing problems, like there are some lengths of time in chapters that are like so long, like they're focusing so much on this like one event and then they skip like 4 months in a paragraph. It doesn't need to be perfect, not all events are equal in magnitude, but I just think that, you know, I think that it was like her first book, you know, that she'd written and gotten approved and published, and so I think there were a lot of like little things that like weren't perfect, and she was kind of tweaking the kinks, I guess, in the way that she writes. Her later books are much more specific, much more accomplished than the first one was. Even though it's still cute, it's so good, and I love them when they're little. They're just so adorable. And I do enjoy parts of the novel before it gets very dark. It's just nice to like know a version of Draco who isn't like a Death Eater, or like as you know you hate him, but like you hate him because he's a bully. He's like a boy who's bullying Harry. Like you don't hate him because he's like evil yet, you know. That's kind of what I mean. So my 5th place book kind of surprised me because I was a little bit underwhelmed when I reread it, and I was a little sad. And it's the 2nd book, which I had at the top of my list. It was my favorite when I was younger, and I reread it, and don't get me wrong, it's still good. I still love it. I remember what I loved about that book is like Tom Riddle's diary, and like how the plot twist of like how he was like controlling Ginny and stuff. Like I loved that, I loved it. It's just when I reread it, I think that I came across the same issue that I came across with the first book, where I feel like, again, like as a writer, J.K. Rowling was kind of figuring out how to write, and I think that this is a book she could have really expanded upon and elaborated a lot more than she did. I love Lockhart so much more than I did when I was little. Like his character is so interesting and I just love him. So that's one thing, like reading it as I'm older, like Lockhart, an icon, truly. Like I hate him, but I love him, like in my heart, like he's an icon. So 4th place is the 4th book, and that is where it sat on the list that I originally had. I love the like new characters in this book, and I love kind of getting to see the new schools. I have never been a huge fan of like competition tournament books, and I know that a lot of people really love this book because that is the structure of the novel, but for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of it. However, I found myself enjoying it a lot more than I remembered. I thought it might actually tick lower on the list after rereading it, but it actually remained about the same, and there were things that I enjoyed a lot more this time. I think like the dynamic between like Cedric and Harry, and how like it goes from them being like awkward and like kind of like enemies a little bit, like because they're competing against each other, to like them kind of having an alliance is kind of cool. And I like the development of that friendship specifically to what leads them to then decide in the end to both grab the trophy. I really like the 4th book because it's kind of like pre-moody Harry. Like Voldemort's not back yet, like he's just chilling like with his friends, and they're still young, but now they're a little older so they can grasp bigger concepts. And then the ending, oh my god, I like cried at the end of this book. Like when Cedric died, like, and it wasn't when he died, it was like the impact it had on the community, and knowing that Voldemort was back and like the school reacting to that, it just touched me in a different way when I reread it. I actually cried because it's very tragic to lose someone that young. Also, Spew, is it S-P-E-W? Spew? Why did they cut that out of the movie? I love that subplot. I've been told by a lot of people that I'm like Hermione, and I've never seen it because I admire Hermione so much. I'm like, there's no way I'm a Hermione, but like that, like one of my friends on one of my online classes, I was talking to him and he was like, you're such a Hermione, like Spew, you would start Spew. And I was like, you're not wrong. So we're in the top 3 now. We are in the 3 best Harry Potter books in my opinion. It's okay if you disagree with me. But my 3rd favorite book is in fact The Order of the Phoenix, the 5th book. I really have always loved this book. I absolutely love Professor Trelawney as a character, and this book really features her a lot. She's just so funny, and honestly, like, Emma Thompson is literally my favorite actress, and she plays her in the movies, which is like beautiful. And I've always just loved her character, like the divination teacher who actually can't see the future, but it turns out she can. It's just like only at specific times. Umbridge is like the worst villain, but such a good villain because it's like a kind of like hatred that we can all kind of relate to, like when authority is like against us and we feel like the system itself is against us instead of like supporting us. Oh my god, I just realized it kind of looks like my head is floating because this is all black. That's so funny. I just love, I mean, the whole struggle of Umbridge is infuriating, and they feel so powerless because they're kids, and she is like the person heading this whole thing, and it feels like they can't do anything, but they do something about it, and they like make a secret group, and they like try to teach themselves, and I loved that. I loved that they took the initiative. The only reason this book isn't higher on my list is because of Grumpy Harry. His point of view throughout this book is just, he is such a teenage boy, and it's so, oh my god, he's so annoying and grumpy and moody, and I know that that is how he is, and that's how he is in this book, but I hated it. Okay, so second place, which was truly a surprise to me, again because I had not read it in a really long time, is The Half-Blood Prince. I thought this was gonna be a lot lower on this list, but I was wrong. I reread it, and I think it's, again, the first time I've reread it since I was literally 12, because I remembered kind of thinking it was boring, but like this book, like the whole plot twist with Snape being the Half-Blood Prince, like still like it got me. Like I knew it was gonna happen, but like, oh, I was so excited to like see when he found out. And like, yeah, the sixth book, I also, you know, another thing I really like about this book is you get like scenes that don't include Harry. Like they do that in the earlier books as well, but there's a couple more in this one, I almost feel like, or like where Harry's not the central focus of the scene, and like I really, really like that. And I like Dumbledore and Harry like kind of bonding in this book, and it's so sad when he dies. Also just like getting to know Snape as a more well-rounded character, the fact he's the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, like that they've been dreading that. Oh my god, also like a small thing, I love Slughorn, even though he's like, you know, he's kind of like not a perfect guy obviously, and he's kind of like a little, he's flawed, he's a very flawed character, but I really enjoy his character a lot. Sixth Harry Potter book, it's pretty good, and I think like it's really dark, but it balances the nature of the series with the newfound adulthood of these characters as they grow up. All right, well, by process of elimination, you have probably figured out what my #1 favorite is, but I will just talk about it a little bit for you. The third one ended up being out on top for me, and I was a little bit surprised because this one, all of my friends have always loved the third one the best, and I was kind of like, yeah, it's good, but it kind of fell in the middle of the pack for me. Like I didn't find it like particularly like fantastic. Everything in this book, it is so well crafted. I feel like it's, again, like it's an earlier book, so there are like some pacing problems, but like she kind of worked out the kinks more in this novel, I feel. I love the plot twist with Sirius at the end, and then like the joy that you feel when like Harry finally has like a family member who isn't like terrible to him. And I love Lupin. Lupin might be my favorite character in the series, or at least my favorite professor. Okay, that's a strong statement, but I really like him a lot. And just like him struggling with, you know, being a werewolf and that whole plot twist. And I love, oh my god, one thing that I like really wish the movie had focused more on is like Harry and Lupin's like relationship and kinship that they really grow together. And I wish that came back more later in the series, because I feel like Harry and Lupin really had a good relationship in this book, but it doesn't come back as much later. But maybe it's just because he meets more people, he gets closer to Dumbledore, like all that kind of stuff. The whole gag with like Hermione literally having a time turner to take more classes. Like that is iconic. That is like peak Hermione right there. Like, what an icon. I love her so much. The whole subplot of like Draco getting scratched by, oh my god, Buckbeak, and then Hagrid being in really big trouble with the Ministry and just all that stuff. And I love, okay, like little tangent for a second. I love that comes back when Umbridge returns. Like, she's so sus of him because it's like, oh, didn't a student get hurt in your class? And oh my god. Anyway, so just some thoughts. Reading Harry Potter as an adult again, I think it's a little weird being older and kind of starting to like sympathize with the teachers a little bit more than I used to, which is like really crazy. Like I'm out here like, wow, I love Minerva McGonagall. Like she had every right to get this kid in trouble because like X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, wait, oh my god, I'm not rooting for the kids, I'm rooting for the adults, like who am I? Anyway, but yeah, and just I think I found some new characters that I've just kind of liked. Like when I was younger, I loved Luna, Lovegood, because she, you know, she's a Ravenclaw and I was a Ravenclaw, and she's kind of the only Ravenclaw besides Cho Chang that is more fleshed out. And rereading it, I'm not a huge fan of her anymore. Like I like her, but I just think that there are other more interesting characters to like explore and look at. I think I saw a lot more of Sirius Black's flaws when I read it this time. Like I kind of, you know, again, like Harry did, idolized him, put him on a pedestal, but he wasn't perfect, and I saw a lot of that more when I reread it. I want to know what you guys think is your top 3 Harry Potter books, because I know that there are a lot of different opinions out there, and like why you guys think that way, because it's fun to have a conversation and just kind of like, you know, get to know you guys a little bit more. So anyway, I'm excited to be making a Harry Potter video. Let me know if you want to see anything like, I don't know, I'm trying to think like a video where I talk about like my favorite characters or like that kind of thing. And also I've been working on some projects that are coming up. I'm really excited to announce. I have a big one in my back pocket that I'll hopefully be able to talk about around mid-May. So anyway, have a great day, you guys. Stay healthy, stay well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye! Wait, is this the moment? Okay, you guys, I have a really fun fact for you. This is so weird. Okay, so I don't have a knuckle in my left pinky. Like, I don't know if you can see here. I'm gonna try to compare. I might cut this out, actually. But okay, so here's my left pinky. There's no knuckle. Do you see that dent there? But my right has... Isn't that crazy? Anyway, that's just a fun fact for you.